Welcome. We're just giving folks a few minutes to join and get settled before we start. Welcome, everyone. We're just giving folks a few minutes to join and get settled before we get started. Hello, welcome. We're just giving folks a few minutes to join, get settled, and then we'll start in just a couple minutes here. Hi, welcome. We're probably going to give it about 30 more seconds or so before we get started to let folks join, get ready. Thanks.
Okay, let's get started. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us for this overview of the new online Masters in Computer Science from the University of Colorado Boulder. I'm Bobby Schnabel. I'm the external chair of the Department of Computer Science, and I'll be helping with some of the presentation today along with my two colleagues. So Randall, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Bobby. My name is Randall Fullington. I'm the Assistant Vice Provost and Executive Director of the Office of Academic Learning and Innovation.
And Sriram.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sriram Sankaranarayanan. I'm a professor of computer science, and I will be teaching one of the pathway courses on algorithms for this program.
Okay, so let's start by telling you a little bit about how the webinar will work and also learning a little bit about you. We are recording this webinar and we'll send out that recording link to you within a few days. So if you miss anything, you'll be able to get it that way. We have people, I'm sure, from many different places in the world. So why don't we start by having people put into the chat where you're from, either the country and the either city or region of the country that you're from, and we'll take a look. Oh, wow. Okay, so I can't keep up nearly as quickly as things are coming in. Just in front of me right now, I'm seeing Dubai, various places in the United States, Turkey, Azerbaijan. Let's see if I can look earlier in there. Brazil, Vietnam, Philippines, China, and Paraguay, all over the world. We probably have most of the continents and most of the United States. So absolute welcome to all of you. One of the great things about these programs is the diversity of people who are part of the programs. The next thing we're going to do is, well, I should say first, there is also a question and answer button at the bottom of the screen, and you're welcome to put your questions into there. You may want to wait until we're farther along because a lot of those questions will get answered in the presentation, and then we're going to have ample time to answer questions from the Q&A part of the screen as we get farther. The next thing we're going to do is take a little quick poll to see how you found out about this webinar. So there's the poll. We're going to give people 15 or 20 seconds to fill that out, and then we'll look at the results. Okay, so it looks like almost 2/3 of the people heard about this from the Coursera website, and then a smattering, the next is email, the next appears to be the CU Boulder website. So thanks, let's close that for now. And what we'll, if we go on to the next slide, what we'll be doing in this webinar, thank you, is first, giving you an overview of how this degree will work. That'll be most of it, and Randall and I will be taking turns on that. We will probably address, as I said, many of the questions that are commonly asked during that time. We'll try to. Then we're going to have the special treat of Sriram, who is an award-winning Coursera faculty member, giving an overview of his graduate algorithms pathway. And then we'll be reserving the rest of the time for answering as many of your questions as we can. Let's start with just a tiny bit of information about the University of Colorado at Boulder. It's an outstanding national and global university. In fact, there was the newest version of the Global University Rankings released recently, and CU was ranked 44th among all universities in the world in that. It's ranked number 18 in the US rankings of public universities and number 36 overall. As you can see, it's got many distinctions, including a very strong number of Nobel Prize winners. A final thing that you might want to know about the university is that it sits in a very thriving entrepreneurship corridor in the United States, one of the best. And in fact, there was just yesterday a new ranking released, and the University of Colorado was the 5th most active in terms of startups of all universities in the United States. So a little background on CU. And with that, I'll turn it over to Randall for the next part of this.
Thank you, Bobby. So I'm going to start with an overview of the MSCS on Coursera and what makes it unique from other programs out there. Number one, first and foremost, there's no application. So traditional graduate programs usually require a rigorous application process, but this program does not. We don't ask for GRE scores or English proficiency results. We don't ask for letters of recommendation, and there are no application fees. All you need to do is start learning, prove you can do the work, and you'll automatically be admitted into the degree program. Since we're interested in your ability, not your history, you can be admitted regardless of your academic background. You don't even need a bachelor's degree, as long as you can do the work. Simply earn a B or better in a special series of 3 breadth courses we call a pathway specialization to show you can do well in these courses. For this degree program, there are 2 pathway specializations to choose from: graduate algorithms, and the second is software architecture for big data. Then you'll be admitted as a computer science graduate student at the University of Colorado. And since your pathway courses count towards your required 30 credits for the degree, you'll actually be making degree progress as you work toward admission. There are no prerequisites. There aren't any formal prerequisites for the program, but you should be familiar with things like algorithms, at least one programming language, and some mathematics. Other things that make this program unique are the courses. So in a traditional program, each course is usually worth around 3 credit hours, but we divide courses into smaller 1 credit hour focused pieces. Cognitive psychologists have shown that it's better to break complicated ideas into smaller chunks of information than trying to understand all these ideas at once. So each of our courses is 1 credit hour. You can expect to spend about 5 to 8 hours per week on each class. We also use platform-driven mastery learning. So that helps to ensure that you understand important concepts from one lesson before moving on to the next. And this scientifically proven way of teaching ensures you actually understand the basic concepts before moving on to the more complicated topics. We have same rigorous content as the on-campus degree. You'll gain technical competency in many areas of computer science, including algorithms, software architecture, machine learning, network systems, ethics in computing, and many others. You'll also have the opportunity to apply those skills to various areas through electives. So we have shorter classes in traditional program. There are normally 3 semesters per year, including the summer, and each semester is about 16 weeks long. Our program runs 6 sessions per year, and each session is only 8 weeks long. Most students take 3 classes per term, and they don't need all 8 weeks to complete the course. It usually only takes about 4 to 6 weeks to complete a course. We also offer a flexible pace. You can go faster or slower if you want. If you need a break, you can even step away for an entire term or 2. You simply need to complete all 30 credits of the program within 8 years. We also offer a pay-as-you-go model. So traditionally, students pay for their entire semester during registration. This means you have a large bill that you must pay before classes start. This program allows you to pay as you go. And tuition is only $525 per credit hour. With the MSCS, you pay per credit hour, not per semester. And that should allow for more flexibility. We have a few different payment options. You can pay online with a U.S. checking or savings account, a credit or a debit card, wire transfer, and you can read more about this on our finances page. You won't get access to course materials until after we receive your payment and you complete all the onboarding steps, so remember to finish all those payment steps quickly. And be sure to give yourself enough time to finish the course before the end of the session, even if you run into delays. All right, I am going to now turn it back over to my colleague, Bobby.
Actually, Randall, I think this was still yours.
Happy to jump back in. So what makes this program unique? So same diploma. Students in the MSCS on Coursera program earn the same credentials as our on-campus students. There are no designations on the transcript or diploma saying that this is an online program. You'll earn a fully accredited Master of Science in Computer Science. You're also invited to attend commencement on campus at CU Boulder during your graduation term. It's not required, but many of our students from other programs like to. You also get access to online career services. So you receive lifelong access to Handshake. Handshake is an online tool where you can network with your fellow alumni and where employers post jobs. It even has a weekly virtual employer events. You also get resume review services from VMOC. And after you graduate, you'll join the Forever Buffs Alumni Association. So a couple of CU policies. So this is important because the CU Boulder Graduate School policies apply to the MSCS on Coursera students. These policies cover things like course repetition, grade replacement, academic standing, and so on. You can find those at the graduate school's website and also in the handbook for this program. Okay, so you're probably wondering how all this works. All of our courses are online on the Coursera platform, and the program is 100% online. You can start with non-credit classes at any time or jump right into the 4-credit experience, whichever one works best for you. Assignments you complete in the non-credit experience will automatically migrate over to your 4-credit experience when you upgrade, so you don't have to redo them. So this non-credit experience it's a great fit if, say, you're not sure whether the online format is for you, or if you don't know whether you're ready for the course material, or if you need a slower pace and give yourself more time to work through that content. And finally, if you aren't necessarily interested in university credentials, the non-credit experience is a great place. This option also gives you the most flexible schedule. You can test your ability and practice the skills without worrying about deadlines. It allows you to work independently without support from course facilitators. To enroll, you just sign up for a monthly Coursera subscription to the course specialization you're interested in. Then you can switch. Then you can watch videos, find readings, and complete the assignments. So since there are no deadlines in this non-credit experience, you complete the coursework at your own pace. And when you're done, you get a non-credit completion certificate from Coursera for every course and then every specialization, which is a sequence of, say, 3 of those courses. Now, these certificates do not imply the conferral of credit from CU Boulder, and non-credit courses and specializations do not appear on a CU Boulder transcript. So if you'd like to earn credit from CU or work towards the MSCS program admission, you must upgrade to the 4-credit experience during an open enrollment window. The 4-credit experience includes access to all of the content in the non-credit experience, plus additional coursework that you'll need to complete to earn CU credit, weekly office hours with course facilitators, a dedicated support email where you can get help with questions about your 4-credit courses. You get a CU student ID, an official CU email address. You get additional services like online libraries and the career services that I was talking about earlier. Remember, you do not need to be admitted to the degree to enroll in 4-credit classes. To enroll, you just need to complete a quick enrollment form online and pay CU tuition. So that tuition includes access to the coursework, so you will not need a monthly Coursera subscription while taking a 4-credit course. But you need to be aware that Coursera will not give a refund for their monthly subscription fee if you start in the non-credit version and then upgrade. So you're going to want to think about your pacing when you do that. The first time you enroll in a 4-credit course, you'll need to complete some important steps before you can access your coursework. You'll activate CU Boulder accounts and link those to your Coursera account. You'll complete an onboarding course, which usually takes about a few hours. It does not affect your GPA. It's not listed on a transcript. It's really designed to help you understand the details of this unique program, also to help you understand some of our policies and how to use Coursera's platform for people who are new. After you complete all of those onboarding steps, you get access to the course content. Now, remember, progress you make in the non-credit migrates over to the 4-credit, so you don't have to repeat what you've already done. You'll also see that new 4-credit content, usually a final exam or a project, but there may be additional items depending on the faculty person. The time limit for the 4-credit experience is 8-week sessions. There are some set deadlines for coursework, so you want to complete all of the outstanding items by the posted deadlines to get CU credit and earn a letter grade. So we launch in August, but you can actually preview 3 courses now in the non-credit experience and then upgrade when the degree launches in fall. The first would be Dynamic Programming Greedy Algorithms, taught by our very own Sriram here. We also have Fundamentals of Software Architecture for Big Data, which is the first course in the software architecture pathway. And then Introduction to Machine Learning, Supervised Learning, which is our first course in the machine learning breadth specialization. Most students are like Muhammad here. I'm going to give a couple of typical learner journeys. These students start by completing a full 3-course pathway. Now, remember, the pathways are made of breadth courses and are part of the required degree curriculum. You'll need to take courses for CU credit to earn admission, and you'll need to earn a B or better in each pathway course. You can choose either graduate algorithms or software architecture. Once you successfully complete your pathway, you'll automatically be admitted to the degree. The courses are designed to be flexible so you can complete them in any order. That said, we do recommend completing specializations in the order that they're listed. There are 6 terms per year, and most students take 3 courses per term. It's equivalent to a full-time graduate level study. If you follow the typical learner journey like Muhammad, you'll complete all 30 credits in about 2 years. At $525 per credit, you'll have paid a total of $15,750. And you'll earn the same transcript and diploma as our students on campus in Boulder. But this program is designed to be flexible. Some students may need more time, like Ryan here. He's not sure whether he's ready for the program just yet, so he starts in the non-credit experience. After he feels confident, he pays tuition, upgrades to the 4-credit version of the course, and the work he's done transfers with him. In the following sessions, he starts in the 4-credit experience with any courses he knows that he can finish quickly. But he always starts in the non-credit experience with any courses that he thinks might take him longer than the 8 weeks. And then he upgrades when he's completed all of the non-credit materials. He's got a busy schedule, so he takes fewer classes per term. He even takes a break from the program completely for a few terms because his job demands more, say, during the spring. Take this kind of extended learner journey if you need more flexibility due to your schedule. We've built this program to accommodate busy schedules. Just remember that you must complete the entire degree within 8 years. On the other hand, you may want to complete the degree on an accelerated schedule, and we certainly have folks who do this. Linda here wants to earn her MS in computer science as soon as possible, so she takes 4 or 5 courses per term. At this pace, you could complete the entire degree in as little as a year. If you choose this accelerated learning journey, make sure you have enough time to meet the demands of your coursework. This is more than a full-time graduate course load, so choose the pace that is right for you. Okay, so you might be wondering, is this program accredited? It is fully accredited as part of CU Boulder's Higher Learning Commission accreditation. You'll get the exact same transcript and diploma as our on-campus students. Your diploma will not have any online or distance designations. Okay, now I think I'm turning it over to Bobby.
And you are. So thank you, Randall. And I'm going to now get into a little bit more about the actual content of the program. I've been looking at the questions in the Q&A, and at least some of them I think will be answered in these next few slides. So on this slide, you see an overview of some of the topics, course topics that are part of this curriculum. We've actually listed these in the traditional way of what corresponds to residential courses. So each course that you see listed here corresponds to 3 1-credit courses on Coursera. And so you would be taking, if you take it this way, 10 of these courses, which would be 30 credits. There are a few electives that are actually single credit, but this is most of them. What you will need to do to complete the degree is to initially take one of the 2 pathway courses, but you'll need to take both of those eventually. You need to get grades of B or better for the pathway courses. You need to get grades of at least C in any course you take for it to count, although you need a B average overall. So you would be taking the algorithms, the software architecture, machine learning, computing ethics and society, and the systems specialization. All students would take those 5, and then you would be selecting courses from the electives. Now you can take all of your electives from computer science courses, but one of the really nice features of this program is that you can also take up to 6 of the elective credits out of the 30 from any of the other Coursera master's degrees that CU offers, and those are in data science, in electrical engineering, and in engineering management. Now let's go to the next slide. A question that is often asked is, and so it was already in the chat, for instance, if you take a course that's part of data science, but is also cross-listed as computer science, do you have to count that as an elective? The answer is no. As long as any course is cross-listed, and this is mainly right now the data science courses, that can count as one of your computer science electives, leaving you free to use the 6 elective credits for courses that are not cross-listed and are only offered by those other degrees. You might want to consider taking those cross-listed courses with the computer science prefix, because that way your transcript will show them as computer science courses, but that's not a requirement. Okay, so next slide. Randall already talked a little bit about this, what background knowledge is required. And this is pretty similar to what you would need at a very minimum to enter any graduate program in computer science. I would actually add in that first bullet, call that data structures and algorithms. You would need that to start into the course that Sriram's talking about. You certainly need to be comfortable with the sorts of programming languages that computer scientists use. So examples of that are C and C++ as the more traditional languages, newer languages, sort of like Rust and others. And then you need to be comfortable with the mathematics that underlies computer science. And we've listed the main topics here: linear algebra, probability and statistics, and discrete math. Note that we don't have formal prerequisites for courses. You're able to go into courses you think you can master, but we certainly recommend that you take the courses within a specialization in the order that they're offered. The questions already come up in the chat about how you can and cannot transfer credits into this degree. There is not a pathway for transferring credits between the residential and the online degree. While Randall said that those are the same degrees, same accreditation, same degree that is listed on your transcript, the courses are separate, and so that's not possible. You can transfer credits from other CU graduate degrees on Coursera, and those are the ones that I've mentioned, and the details of that are given on the website. And then finally, what's the world that awaits you when you graduate from this degree? So next slide, please. Every survey that comes out, even in the current times of some economic downturns, shows that computer science remains the best field to be going into for employment prospects, the one that is paid the best, the one that has the greatest prospects. We have a history of our students going on to jobs with almost any company you can think of, including the major tech companies, but so many others. One of the things that is so important to remember is that there are tech jobs in every economic sector that exists. And we're seeing that right now. So even when some of the tech companies were doing some layoffs, by the way, they're still hiring at the same time. But we're seeing that many other companies in non-tech sectors are using that as an opportunity to hire like crazy. So the job market remains very strong. All of the projections are that it will continue to be strong. You see there that there's an average annual salary in this business in US dollars of 130,000 or more. And actually, when we look at our students from CU Boulder, we actually see a lot of students starting at a salary like that. So with that, turn it back over to Randall.
Thank you, Bobby. So I want to talk a little bit about financing for this degree. This program is not eligible for U.S. federal financial aid, and we don't offer scholarships at this time. However, we have been able to greatly reduce our tuition rate. So you may look into getting private loans if that's a good fit for you. But we know that employers really value the skills we teach. So we recommend that you start by asking your employer if they are willing to offer tuition reimbursement for this program. We recommend being strategic about this request. We've given you a little bit of a sample one right here. Your company is going to want to know if this is a fully accredited degree program. You can explain that it is. You want to be sure to give details about costs, timeline, and the curriculum. And most importantly, you'll want to outline how the skills and knowledge you learn in this program will benefit your company. So, for example, how will you use advanced algorithms in your daily work? You could also talk about a particular project in mind that could benefit from machine learning. You're going to want to convince your employer that this tuition money will help them just as much as it helps you. So your employer may want you to sign a contract before they agree to tuition reimbursement. Make sure you understand the details, and specifically make sure you are able to provide any paperwork they need, like receipts or transcripts. So do you need a student visa? No, you do not. Since this program is fully online, there is no need for a student visa. CU Boulder does not issue I-20 forms for this program, and MSDCS students will not get student visas. This means that you'll not be eligible for curricular practical training, or CPT, or the optional practical training, or OPT, as part of this program. So who can I talk to if I have questions? So if you have questions about the content, we strongly encourage you to use your best resource, which is your fellow students. Get to know them through the discussion forums, brainstorm together when you get stuck. When you help your classmates, you not only strengthen your own knowledge, but you'll also develop a professional network. You're also going to be practicing what you do and what you will do in your job setting, and that is collaborating with your coworkers. In the 4-credit experience, you can also join your course facilitator's weekly office hours. You can ask questions about the material being covered or anything else you might need to know. As a 4-credit student, you will also get access to dedicated email support. One question I've seen in the chat window too is that can I earn both an MSCS and an MSDS on Coursera? So the answer is no. Core courses and the programs do overlap, but you can't, the graduate school doesn't, it has a no double dipping rule. So it prevents you from counting one course toward 2 credentials of the same level. So for example, you cannot apply credit from a course toward 2 graduate degrees or 2 graduate certificates. However, you can apply credits from a course toward 1 graduate degree and 1 graduate certificate as long as you earn the graduate certificate first. Because multiple courses are cross-listed, you can earn a data science graduate certificate on your way to an MSCS degree without having to complete more than the 30 credits. Each certificate has unique requirements. You'll need to take courses in the correct order. There are a few extra steps to earn any certificates outside of the computer science department. And you can find the details on this in the student handbook or on our website. Okay. Can I start in the DS program and switch to the CS program? You can start now in cross-listed MSDS courses and then join the CS degree once it launches. Using the data science enrollment form to enroll in cross-listed courses for credit will give you a head start on earning credit towards your degree, but we do want to make sure you are aware of a few things. Number 1, your transcript will show these as data science courses. It may make it harder for anyone looking at transcripts to see the substantial amount of coursework you're completing for a CS department. You will need to remember to take additional steps to change your program, and you cannot make these changes until the CS program launches this fall. So failure to make those changes could delay your program admission, or your graduation. So we just want to make sure you do take those steps. When you complete this form, make sure you say no to the data on the data science enrollment form when it asks you if you intend to pursue a degree. This will save you time later on. You'll also need to pay special attention to your grades, since the computer science degree requires that you earn a B or better in all breadth courses and a C or better in all electives. And remember, not all data science courses are cross-listed with CS courses. Some cannot be applied to the computer science degree, and some will count towards your 6-credit limit for outside electives. So just make sure you plan accordingly, and you can see the student handbook or our website for more details. Because starting in another program can be confusing, we recommend you stick with computer science courses. Remember, there are 3 courses currently available to preview in the non-credit experience, and you can find links to those on our website. Okay, so now that you know about the program, I'm sure that you're wondering, how can I get started? So enrollment for the first 4-credit session opens August 14th. Classes start 2 weeks later on August 28th. But you can begin a non-credit course now and get a head start on the program admission, even before the program launches. The work you complete in the non-credit will migrate over to the 4-credit experience when you upgrade and pay tuition after enrollment opens on August 14th. There's no cap on the enrollment, and tuition is due when you enroll in the 4-credit experience. Okay, I am going to now turn it over to Sriram, Dr. Sankaranarayanan, to talk about pathway specialization graduate algorithms.
Thank you, Randall. Thank you, Bobby. So hi everyone. I'm Sriram Sankaranarayanan. I am one of the professors in computer science, and I have been teaching a sequence of courses on algorithms for the MSDS students, and that has 3 courses. But the sequence for master students is going to start with the 3rd course that the data science students take, which is called dynamic programming and greedy algorithms. So the prerequisite for this course assumes that you already know enough data structures and algorithms at the undergraduate level. And the way you get that is by taking the first 2 courses, which the MSDS students take non-credit before you take the 3rd course. Or if you have an algorithms background and if you're comfortable with it, you can take it. You can start with the 3rd course. So these courses are roughly going to cover the same topics I cover in the on-campus graduate version of the algorithms class. Okay, so the first 1-credit course is called CSCA 5414. We'll talk about a class of algorithms called dynamic programming algorithms and greedy algorithms. So we'll be doing a little bit of that. And the way it works is there will be 4 modules corresponding to 4 weeks of instructions for this, and you will learn different topics in each of those 4 weeks. There will be videos, there will be readings from the standard algorithms textbook everyone uses called CLRS. It's the textbook by Corman, Lasis, and Rivest and Stein. So we'll be learning from that. And there will be assignments each week, a problem set that you would solve by solving algorithm problems and typing out and the answer and writing the solutions in Python, which would be the language we would use, though you don't really need to be an expert in Python for this class. You would need some basic knowledge of Python programming. And if you already program, it should be quite easy to get this knowledge. We'll give you plenty of resources for obtaining that. And that's going to be the first course. Then we are going to move to the second course, which is going to be talking about more algorithm design strategies like approximation algorithms and linear programming, which are very important algorithms design strategies. And the last course will conclude on a couple of advanced data structures. And then we'll be talking about an algorithm used for encrypting data called RSA, and talk about quantum algorithms, which are the latest and greatest when it comes to algorithms. So we'll talk about a little bit about quantum computing, introduce quantum algorithms, and try to have a little bit of a hands-on experience there. So this is the plan, but I need to warn you, this is going to be a second course on algorithms. And we expect for a master's student to have done a first course on algorithms, and you could do that by taking the 2 courses that come before this, which are available for non-credit on Coursera. So you could do that, take those courses, and then start the 3rd course. And I would highly recommend that. So this is what we have planned. Of course, algorithms is going to be very, very important for the rest of your computer science degree. And a lot of interview questions when you go for a job interview in computer science will make you solve algorithms problems, because employers really think if you're good at algorithms, and you will be good at many other aspects of computer science as well. And that's mostly true. So this is going to be one of the pathway specializations that's going to really help you be successful in the rest of the program. Okay, so I'll turn this over. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sriram. So just to underscore what he said, there is a non-credit version of the first course live on Coursera now, so you can get started right away. And then we do recommend, if you're not quite ready, to look at the first 2 courses in the other specialization, algorithms for searching, sorting, and indexing, trees and graphs basics, just to do some preparation work. Just an important note that those that credit from those data science courses cannot be applied toward the MSCS degree, but they are a great way to prepare for your CS coursework. Okay, now we're going to do one more poll before starting our Q&A section. So we're curious to know if you intend to pursue the MSCS on Coursera. Okay, and those poll results should be coming up. Here they are. Okay, great. Yeah, we have a really good mix here. It looks like the majority of people want to pursue the master's degree. Some folks are still deciding. That is definitely fair. So please reach out with any questions you might have. I'm happy to answer those questions. And then for those folks who are just interested in single courses, also great and really exciting to see. Okay, so now I am going to move us over into our question and answer period. So we've collected quite a few good questions in the Q&A, and I'm going to be asking those questions, and then a couple of us are going to be answering those questions. So I'm going to start with Seneca. Seneca asks, on-campus programs offer courses in high-performance computing and artificial intelligence. Will the program have these classes, and if so, will they be available in the next 2 years? Bobby, I think you can probably answer that question.
Yeah, I'll start with that. The short answer is yes. We're actually have a group of faculty preparing courses in high performance computing and scientific computing now. We're going to be looking at which of those would qualify as computer science core courses and which will qualify as electives, but we absolutely anticipate having those. Artificial intelligence, of course, means many things. There's a number of AI courses in there already, from human computer interaction to natural language processing. We've got an exciting set of courses being developed in generative AI, the ChatGPT world. And the first one of those we expect to have available already at the launch of the program. I'm sure there'll be others, but that's just a sampling. So absolutely. I did see a question about computer vision, and we've had discussions about we do already have a one course in computer vision as part of the program, and there's discussions about adding others there.
Great, thank you. Our next question comes from Sungjae. What programming languages do you require for the pathway courses? So this might be a question for Sriram.
Yeah, that's a good question. My course uses Python, but it's not very deep Python. It's mostly knowing the basics of programming in Python and working with Python. So we'll have a list of the skills you need for Python programming. But in general, knowing programming, having mastery over a programming language, any programming language, C, C++, Python, Rust, would be essential before you start a master's program in computer science. I would think of programming in computer science more as an architect thinks of bricks. So architecture is not bricklaying. Architecture is building beautiful buildings, right? Skyscrapers and so on. But you need those bricks to build a building. Without the bricks, the building doesn't get built. So knowing programming is essential for doing a master's in computer science. So you need to come prepared. To specifically answer the question, it's Python for my class. Other classes might use a combination of C, C++, JavaScript. It depends. Python mostly. It just depends on the subject and the class.
Thank you, Sriram. So when Graham asks, when taking electives from EE or EM as a CS student, do we pay MSCS tuition? The answer is no. Those courses are set at a select tuition amount, which is $667. But if you were to take electives from the data science program, you would pay the same rate as the CS, which is $525 per credit. Okay, I think Aiden, if I'm understanding the question, is asking is it possible to enter the program on campus, and if so, how can I apply for it? I'll take this one quickly. If you start in the MSCS on Coursera and you decide you want to do the residential, you'll need to actually apply for that residential program as any other graduate student would. So you would want to go to the MSc or the computer science website to begin that journey. Okay, great. And let's see, what it looks like my questions got moved around a little bit. So Larry asks, what are disadvantages of starting each course not for credit, then converting to for credit? This is an interesting question. I think I will try to take my best shot. I don't know of many disadvantages of starting in the non-credit and moving to the for credit. I do want to let you know that the non-credit versions don't have all of the features available to the for credit courses, so you won't have access to the course facilitator, and you may not have access to the Slack networking or support channels for each course. So you do want to be aware of that. You will be working through those non-credit versions a little more independently, but you can get help or talk with fellow students in the discussion forums of those courses.
Randall, the only other thing to address, because I saw that question come up multiple times, I believe, is what that might mean economically.
Oh, great question. Yeah. So if you start in the non-credit version and then move over to the for credit version, you will have to pay the Coursera non-credit purchase price, and then additionally pay the tuition price for the for credit version here at CU Boulder. So there is a financial piece to it. Okay, Jacob asks, will all of the MSCS courses be available within the first 12 months of program kickoff, or at least enough to complete 30 credit programs within 12 months, or are the courses being developed over several years? So I can also answer this question. We will have 30 credits available within the first 2 months. We actually anticipate having 30 credits available well before the first 12 months. But we also want to say, over the next several years, we'll continue to add courses to address topics, latest trends in the field, new things, or other courses as we see necessary for the program.
Yeah, and I can just add, I mean, I mentioned that already. We'll have a very nice selection of courses available in the outset, and a good number, as an example, robotics and natural language processing, that will be coming on easily within the first 12 months of the program. But I think, it's true in computer science in general, the field always evolves and we'll always be adding courses to that. I realized when I mentioned robotics that the person who asked about AI may have been, depending on whether you lump robotics into AI, that's yet another set of AI-ish courses that are part of the curriculum.
Great, thank you, Bobby. Okay, Seneca comes back with another question. In the Coursera courses, I think Seneca means in the non-credit courses, there are unlimited attempts at quizzes and assignments. If we sign up for credit, is there a limit on the number of times Coursera quizzes can be taken? Sriram, you're shaking your head. I'll let you answer that question.
I think no. I mean, some instructors may change this, but as a general policy, for at least for my classes, no. At least for the classes that I know about, no. Attempts are unlimited because these are meant for you to keep trying until you get the answer right. So that's part of the journey. Not for the final exam, though. The final exam, you just get one attempt.
Great, thank you for that important distinction there. Chris asks, are the pathway courses available to start at any time, or do we need to wait for the next open period? So the non-credit versions are available at any time. If you want to take the pathway courses for credit to try to earn admission, you do need to take those during an enrollment, during a session, during one of our 6 8-week sessions. Now, those are open almost nearly all year round. There are a few weekends in between sessions that they're closed, and then a couple of weeks during the holiday season in December, but otherwise they're nearly open all the time. Okay, Freya says, please provide more information on support hours and weekly webinars. Are students satisfied with the quality of tutoring provided? Who do you hire as tutors at Boulder? Okay, so our course facilitators are, they give weekly office hours, and we've heard really good response from our students on those. Combining that with the Slack channels and the discussion, our students tend to get really strong support. We've heard that they are very satisfied with it. As far as who do we hire, we actually hire students here at CU Boulder, advanced students, to be course facilitators. These are people who have worked through the courses, who have succeeded in them, who can answer your questions and work closely with you. I don't know, Bobby or Sriram, if you want to add anything else about your course facilitators, who I think Freya is calling tutors in this case.
Yeah, I would emphasize this is one of the major reasons to take a 4-credit version if you are new to the subject. And part of the reason is the support. I do get a lot of comments from my non-credit students sometimes that there is absolutely no support for them, and that's by the nature of these Coursera classes that there is no support if you took the non-credit versions. So part of what your tuition dollars are paying for is the support that you would be getting, and having a cohort of other students who are going through the assignments almost the same time as you, maybe not exactly the same time, and that's pretty important, especially for the pathway courses. I would say they start at a fairly high level. Remember, this is a master's program in computer science, and so if you need that master's level credential, it has to be at a high level, right? So you need that support, and we do offer that.
I think the only thing I can add is a fairly limited perspective. I'm the creator of one of the courses on ethical issues in data science in that program, and so I get to read the student feedback at the end of the courses, and it's been overwhelmingly supportive of the experience that those students go through. I don't get to read the feedback for every single course, so I can't claim that I know what that is, but students do seem to be quite satisfied with the experience that they're getting overall.
Thank you, Sriram and Bobby. Juan asks, so to get started with the 3-course pathway, I need to get Coursera Pro and enroll in those courses, finish them, and then apply to the program. Or do I apply to the program first and then enroll? Okay, so there are 2 routes to get into the course path, the pathway specializations. So number 1, you can do the non-credit version, and in that case, you do need a Coursera login, and so you need to sign up for Coursera and then pay the monthly fee for the course or the specialization. And then you can take that non-credit. Then when the 4-credit period opens, you will complete the enrollment form. And then basically you select your courses, provide some personal information like your name and address, answer a few questions. Then you pay tuition for the course. That will then kick off a few steps in terms of provisioning you a student ID, getting you access to our 4-credit courses, and then you will go back to the Coursera version or the Coursera platform. And on the platform, you will finish your 4-credit work. So that would be one way. The second way is to skip that non-credit version, wait for the enrollment period to open, complete the enrollment form, pay tuition, go through the provisioning steps to get your ID and link your accounts, and then start the 4-credit pathway specializations. Okay, Mohammed asks, can I request letters of recommendation from course instructors teaching in this degree program? Sriram, thank you.
Yeah, I can take this. Yes and no. Yes, you can request, but whether you get a letter of recommendation depends on the personal policy of the person who's teaching the class. So you can always ask, but my personal policy, which I don't mind sharing out loud, is I write letters for students who have done work with me, either research or help me in teaching. So if you would like a letter of recommendation from me, you would have to do well in the class and then come back and say, hey, I did well in the class. I would like to assist either in some research project, or I would like to help students like coming in the other cohorts and help them out as a teaching assistant. And if you do those things, then yes, you would. I would love to write a recommendation letter for you, because then I would know you. I would know more about your work ethic, and my letter would mean something. And this applies both for on-campus students and Coursera students. It's a uniform policy. I don't distinguish between whether you're an online student or an on-campus student for that.
I will only add, I think what Sriram said was excellent. I have had an experience I can recall already where a student who had completed our master's in data science was applying for a PhD program and asked me if I would write a letter of recommendation. And I was happy to do it with the knowledge that I had, which was not the personal knowledge that Sriram described, but simply at least explaining what it took to successfully complete this program in that case, a short period of time. So that was my own experience.
Great, thank you both. Okay, Arshit asks, most of the courses mentioned on the Coursera page were computer science focused, but not very mathematical. For example, the on-campus MS in CS also has mathematical courses like convex optimization. So can we also expect mathematics optimization courses in the online courses as well?
I can take a stab at an initial answer. The answer is yes, though I'm not really sure. So we are building this program, and so I'm not really sure when those courses would appear. So there are plans. So the algorithms course that I teach would be fairly mathematical in its scope, but offering a convex optimization class, or I also teach a class on linear and integer programming that used to be on Coursera a long time ago. And part of it is we are trying to bring it back on Coursera. And if it did, it would be something that would come under this program, but we can't promise anything yet. It's going to take, the courses are going to appear first, the essential classes that you would need to graduate and do well and so on. But then we would have more electives, and the number of electives would just keep growing over time. Yeah, that's the non-ideal answer, but yes, mathematical courses are very much on the horizon. Optimization classes very much so.
Let me just add a couple of things to that. We also have an ongoing conversation with faculty about creating a specialization in theory of computation, which is kind of a cousin to this type of things that Sriram teaches, and very mathematical as well. And then there also is the possibility of taking electives in statistics, and some of them quite advanced statistical learning theory, for instance, that are part of the data science program.
Great, thank you both. Okay, if someone is enrolled in the MSDS program, is it required to go through the pathway again to transition to MSCS and get admitted? So this is a great question. Actually, Jennifer, are you available?
Yep.
I know you've done a lot of work in this area, so I'm going to ask you as the expert here.
Yeah, so you won't need to redo those courses. However, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. You can only count those courses towards one of the degrees, right? So for graduation, you can't count it towards both degrees. That's one thing. The other thing is that the registrar needs some way to know that you're interested in the CS degree instead of the DS. So you will need to take some steps to indicate that change of programs. I would recommend emailing us at the email address on the screen now to get some of the details of these considerations, but no, you don't need to retake the courses.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, Larry asks, how many of the course finals require the accursed Proctor U? Looks like Sriram, you've come off mute, so I'll let you answer this one.
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. Yes, I agree with the sentiment. I'm personally not a big fan of software taking control of people's computers and so on. At the same time, this is something that's actually a choice that instructors make based on their teaching philosophy. In my teaching philosophy, I tend to trust students. But on the other hand, then my exam's going to be harder. So I give, and this also answers the question from Freya, my 4-credit final exam would be a 24-hour take-home exam. You get an algorithm problem, which you have to solve from beginning to end, code up your answer. Actually, you get a couple of problems like that. Code up the answer and make sure that your answer passes the test. And students hate this, but it also has to run within some time limit that I said. So it's actually an algorithms challenge problem. And you know, if you took the course, that's what you're learning to solve. You're learning to be a problem solver, and that's so. I give you 24 hours. There's no proctor you. You don't need to worry about that, but you need to take that time to solve that problem and submit the answers in that 24-hour time period. But you know, other instructors, other faculty might make different choices. So so I am trying to lead a conversation towards should we be doing proctor you or not, but it's not going to be something that you know, you will see the impact of that anytime soon. So I would say about 50% of our faculty, based on a rough estimate of what I've heard, would probably not use proctor you, but maybe 50% would. So yes, at least my course, I can tell you, no proctor you. I took it away as soon as I saw that it was a mistake. But I replaced it with a harder and a more substantive final, which I thought would fit the brief for my course better.
Great, thank you, Sriram. Okay, is this considered a terminal master's? Curtis asks. I think, Bobby, you might be able to answer this question.
I'm not sure that the terminology of terminal masters is one that we use or is clearly defined. The only thing that probably is not considered a terminal master's is something where one is already admitted to a PhD degree and gets a master's as part of getting a PhD. So this is like any other master's degree. The ending point for this particular degree is the master's degree. Most people utilize it that way for their journey into the workforce or within the workforce already. And as I think got answered already in the Q&A, one can certainly then utilize this degree as accredited degree from an excellent university in applying towards a PhD program, if that happens to be your goal in your career.
Thank you, Bobby, and I apologize for the dog. Remote work is the best of times and worst of times for animals. So, okay, for pets. So thank you, Bobby, for that. I'm going to move on to Scott's question. How much prior experience with computer science concepts is recommended for the pathway courses and to be successful in the full program?
Sriram, you might be a great person to start on that one.
Sorry, I was typing an answer. So could you repeat the question? Sorry, I was just typing an answer for one of the other students.
Happy to. How much prior experience with computer science concepts is recommended for pathway courses and then to be successful in the full program?
Yes. So this is not easy to answer. So I would say you need to be a good programmer. You need to know at least one programming language fairly well. Fairly well doesn't mean professional level well, but well at the level of someone who's taken a programming class and done a couple of projects in that programming language. Python would be preferred, but if you know C, C++, then just transferring your knowledge over to the basics of Python, like what's a for loop, what's a while loop, all of that should be good. So you should be, I would say, extremely comfortable with programming to begin with, and taking a non-credit Coursera class to prepare you for that would be a good idea to prepare for that. The other computer science class that I would recommend is the undergraduate level data structures and algorithms class, and you could take the first two non-credit versions. So remember, in the pathway class on algorithms, you're taking 3, 4, and 5 of a 5-course sequence. You could take course 1 and 2, and they would prepare you with some basics, which you would need. You would need some concepts on basic mathematics. Discrete mathematics is very important. So So knowing about properties of numbers, how to do proofs, not very detailed proofs, but knowing a little bit about discrete math, combinatorics, induction proofs, logic, and or not, implication, Boolean algebra. So those would be good. And I would recommend if you knew a little bit on data science, a little bit on statistics, you need to have more than an amateur's knowledge of machine learning, a little bit of that, so that you understand the context in which you're learning these things. Otherwise, learning cloud computing just by itself without knowing the context of why do we need cloud computing, where does it fit, what is the AWS cloud, or what does it do for me, right? Knowing a little bit of how computer systems are organized, knowing a little bit of networking is all going to help. So I would say in terms of detailed knowledge, definitely programming, definitely data structures, algorithms, and a little bit of computer systems that you should be able to pick up before you start a systems class, right? But then knowing the context is important. Knowing computer science as in a broad sense, what is networking, what's a computer network, what's a cloud computing infrastructure, how are computer systems architected, knowing if I type something on the search bar of my browser, every step that happens along the way conceptually before the answer comes back. These are things you need to know. I mean, we would expect undergraduate students to know this. And of course, many of our undergraduate students would go and do a job for 4 or 5 years, come back to school. So they would be like a little bit, or they're going to be very much out of shape on many of the concepts. They may not be able to do proofs, but they would be able to pick these things up. And I think you need to be at that level as well to get the maximum out of this program and to be successful. And that may take a few months of preparation, like active preparation, and we should have those resources as well before the program launches, so a detailed list of things you need to know, things you should know very well, things you should know at a good level of familiarity, and things you should be kind of aware of.
Sriram, the only thing I will add to that is that was a wonderful response and list of things that I would say ideally that people would know. And if somebody, for instance, had already been working as a computer scientist or studying computer science, they would. I've also noticed that these online programs, we get some ambitious and talented people who do not know whatever would be on the list for that particular degree, like Sriram had, and kind of challenge themselves to pick that up along the way as they do it. And I've seen many people succeed that way. So it depends on the effort you're able to put in along the way if you don't have that knowledge to start out with.
Okay, great. Thank you. So there was a question that was asked. Looks like it has disappeared, but I do want to cover it. So apologies, I don't remember who asked. Someone had asked, if we end our Coursera subscription, will our work progress be saved? The answer is yes, it should be saved. We're talking here in the non-credit version. If you decide to not continue with the course, or I'm sorry, not continue to not pay for the subscription in that non-credit version, your progress should be saved. And then when you restart, you can begin again where you left off. In the for-credit experience, that is important to say that it comes with set deadlines and different consequences. So for example, leading to say drop or withdraw rules. So wanted to make sure we did answer that question. Apologies, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Luai asks, does the program have a final project at the end of the study? Also, are there courses similar to the on-campus courses and topics? I think we've answered the second question already. Many of the courses on our on-campus do cover the same topics, but we don't build all of the on-campus courses, at least not yet. So I'll let Bobby and Sriram answer the other question. Does the program have a final project at the end of the degree experience?
Well, I think if the question is there some culminating experience after you do all of the courses? No, this is a course-based master's. Actually, that's similar to what we do residentially. And so there would often be a final project or experience of some sort at the end of a particular course, but not one that culminates the entire degree. Sriram, is there something that you want to either add or correct on that?
Yeah, I think for now that's the plan, that this is not going to happen. But if you're someone who's very interested in and very much engaged, it's possible to after you've done a course and after you've completed a class, to reach out to the faculty member and say, hey, I took your class, I really enjoyed it, and let's say you do have the free time to engage more. You could ask them for more ideas to engage more. You could ask them to suggest projects. You could get started in something like a project-based learning experience on your own. And if there is enough demand for that, there would be a way to make some kind of an project-based learning experience happen. But right now, this is meant to be a course-based master's. You're meant to take these classes and complete your accreditation. But if you're one of those few students who wants to engage more and has the time and energy to do that, then I think there should be ways to do it. We are an R1 research institution, so a lot of us do research in the topics we teach, and we would have project suggestions, we would have ideas, things that you can work on your own, stuff like that. Put stuff on GitHub, participate in open source. So there's ways to interact with the faculty members. My suggestion would be to do it after you've taken their class, and do it for the courses where you're really passionate about the subject.
Great, thank you both. Ahmed asks, do you offer financial support, and what's the process if yes? So as I mentioned earlier in this webinar, we don't offer federal financial aid for this program. So we do actually encourage folks to reach out to their employers to see if they can get support. So I do want to note here that the price of the MSCS, the full tuition amount, if you were to do that degree over 3 years, it would be $52.50 per year. That amount, one of the reasons why we chose that amount was because it allows employers to fully deduct the price of that tuition under IRS tax code. So that is something we certainly encourage folks to do. Also want to add that we have had students in the Coursera hosted programs for some of our other degrees. After they have finished courses and moved on in the program, they actually can come back and be course facilitators and get paid the same rate as our course facilitators here in Boulder. So that is certainly an opportunity as well. Okay, Sandra asks, do we get access to library services with a student ID? Also, do we get a .edu email? And the answer is yes, you definitely do get a colorado.edu email, and you do get access to some of the library services as well. And you also will have a student ID. So.
And I'll add one thing there. This may be unique to the computing ethics and society specialization, but that library access really makes a difference, because one of the things it allows students to do is have free access to some important publications like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and we make use of that in being able to access many articles from those publications as part of the course.
Great, thank you for that, Bobby. So what is your recommendation? Tamzadul asks, what is your recommendation for students with very little formal math and CS background?
Maybe I'll start on that, and this may be something where either Jennifer or Sriram want to go in, but we do have recommendations, I believe, of non-credit courses that you can take from Coursera or other places that will allow you to pick up some of that background that you don't have. And if people want to do this but don't have that background, we strongly recommend that as a starting point.
Yeah, I will throw a link to the website in the chat, but it's also on the screen as well, where they can find that list and those links.
Great, thank you both. Okay, this is a question that we've already answered, but I do want to bring it up again because we all knew there would be lots of questions about this, and it's worth probably saying again. Do you have any AI-focused electives, or will they be available in the future? So, Bobby, I'm going to try to paraphrase you, so please correct me if I do it wrong. So AI is a very broad topic and spans many different courses. We do have some courses that are being worked on right now in generative AI. And then we also have coursework in many other areas that touch on AI as well. And I'll let Bobby give a more specific answer than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, in fact, you could easily take half of your degree in things that would be considered AI. There's a machine learning specialization that is part of the required courses. I didn't even mention that the last time I was talking about this. And then there are elective specializations in robotics and human-computer interaction. There's a course in computer vision. There's now something being generated in generative AI, as Randall said, and I probably just left something out again. Yeah, so there is quite a bit. Oh, natural language processing is what I left out. So you literally could take a half of your degree in AI courses if you wanted to.
Great, thank you, Bobby. We've talked a bit about some prereq knowledge, but I don't think we've really touched on it from the math level. So Pablo asks, what level of mathematics do we need in order to do well? Do we need to have an intermediate or advanced level of math?
I don't know if Sriram, do you prefer to start with that?
So I just answered a very similar question for another student. So I think some of the courses are going to be math heavy, but this is not a math graduate program. It's a computer science graduate program. So a lot of students who struggle in math do get through the degree just fine. It just requires them to do the extra work and do the extra preparation. But yes, some of the courses will be math heavy. Like, for example, my course will be math heavy. And so I don't know what intermediate level math means, but you need to know discrete math. Calculus is going to be more important because of machine learning. Knowing concepts like differentiation would be important. And I think for my class, it would be very important to know discrete math, some combinatorics. But these are things where we would give you some minimal prereq list, and you should prepare with those to begin with. And
the only interesting perspective I'll add to that is it's always been the case that things like discrete mathematics of some amount of combinatorics, things like that, have been part of the background that are important in computer science. Calculus has often only been important for very specific sub-areas of computer science, but as machine learning has developed, calculus has actually re-entered more than it may have before. So there's always a question about how much, and calculus isn't in everything, but it is in some parts of it.
Great, thank you both. Emmanuel asks, is it possible to get more information about the possibility of doing the program in an accelerated format? So yes, I would say, Emmanuel, the next step you would want to take would be to email the program to get more information. I think Jennifer has included it on this slide. It's the MSCA Coursera-info@colorado.edu, and we can certainly help you map out an accelerated journey through the degree program. Okay. I'm going to ask a few other questions here. We have about 12 minutes left. So let me see here. Mary A. asks, if there are overlapping course materials, does a student have to retake those courses? So I think it's the idea if a subject is covered in one of your courses and then also covered in a separate course, do you have to retake that course? I will say from the work that my office does with faculty in the computer science department that we are very strategic about what course content is repeated or duplicated across courses. For the most part, faculty do duplicate material if it's necessary, or they feel it's necessary for you to refresh your knowledge on certain things as you apply that kind of foundational knowledge to that specific course. So that is why you may see some of that overlapping course material. But then I would add, yes, you do need to complete that coursework in order to earn a grade for the course. Kelsey asks, if I complete more than one of the preliminary courses before enrolling in the 4-credit program, do I get credit for all applicable courses? I'm going to read this question again silently, so make sure I fully understand it. So I think, Kelsey, I'm not, or Jennifer, maybe you've come on screen, so maybe you understand the question.
I think that this might be asking a similar question that we got before about if I complete all the all the coursework and then enroll in a 4-credit version, does that coursework transfer? That's my understanding of it. Which the answer is yes. If there's two things. Yes, if you upgrade to 4-credit, your non-credit work will transfer with you. There are a few interactive pieces like discussion board posts and any grading that you did of other peer coursework or vice versa. Those don't necessarily always transfer because there's that interactive component to it. So we do always encourage you to save your work off platform. The other possible interpretation that I get of this is if I complete these courses and then want to get admitted to the degree, do I need to retake the courses after the fact? And that is a no. You can complete the courses in any order, and then when you indicate that you're interested in the enrollment form in admission, that's when we will, after that session, we will check to make sure you meet those admission requirements and admit you if that's the case.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. Mary asks, is this MSCS recognized by other schools or even CU if a student wants to apply for other programs on campus? So I'll say two things here, Mary. Number one, for other schools, universities set their own standards and rules regarding transfer credit. So you will really do need to check with those schools, whether or not they would accept these as transfer credits. It's really up to them. It's not our decision. I will say that these are graduate level courses. They are the same graduate courses we do teach on campus. So the content is certainly the same. And then as far as applying to CU Boulder, currently you can't carry credits over from one program to the other. But I would encourage you to have further conversation with the grad advisor. And then again, if you wanted to move into that program, you would have to apply like all of our students do for the residential version. Neil, you asked a really good question about your plan. I really encourage you to take that question to our info email, and then grad advisor can answer for you and work with you on your specific plan. Okay, let me see if I can find a couple of other questions. Good morning, Ted asks or says, thank you for hosting. Is it possible to transfer in credits from a different CS master's program? Bobby, do you want to answer that question? This would be from, can students from another university bring in credits to the CS program?
My understanding of that was no, but I think you and Jennifer know that better than I do.
Yeah, my understanding is no as well. I will say that there are other Coursera programs that or Coursera hosted degree programs that the program, or sorry, the degree home has given exceptions here and there, but generally speaking, the answer is no. Jennifer, did you want to add anything to that?
Oh, I was just going to add, there are those 6 credits, up to 6 credits that you can take in other CU Boulder degrees on Coursera that you can then apply to the elective requirement for the MSCS. There are a few data science courses that cannot be applied there because they are very similar to ones that are also already part of the CS degree. But those are listed on the curriculum website, both on Coursera and on the CU website. So I'll throw a link to that in the chat.
Great, thank you, Jennifer.
Randall, there's one
Matt?
question here that I think, I think you're about to do it. So go ahead.
Is this Matt's question about
Yes.
are the higher level courses in this program generally more practical or theoretical focused?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. In general, computer science is to a large degree a practical topic with important theoretical underpinnings. And so that tends to be the answer to that question as well. So if you look at the topics that are electives, just think of as an example of robotics or generative AI or natural language processing or many others. Though I think you would consider each one of those to be a very practical course, but of course, woven in there will be some of the theoretical underpinnings that you need to understand to become a graduate level person in that topic. Sriram, do you want to add anything to that?
Not really. I think you said everything I was going to say.
Okay, great.
Someone had asked further on down in the chat, is there a CS graduate certificate available now? The answer is currently there is not. However, you can earn the DS graduate certificate. We also have graduate certificates in engineering management that you could bring into this program, and to keep looking, stay tuned for other certificates because we're building them all the time.
And Randall, I think it's probably safe to say that eventually, if somebody wants to take another one of our computer science master's degrees, there probably will be ways to earn computer science certificates.
I wanted the program director to say that rather than me. So thank you for saying that. So Nick asked a question about final exams, and I think he's building off what Jason Lee asked. So he's trying to gauge how the final would work. I know, Sriram, you spoke a little bit about this. Will it be something where the final will be heavily weighted, and if you don't score very high, you will fail? I'm sure it is different for each class, but he'd like to know how CU sees that process playing out.
I think it's different for different courses, but for my class, because it's a pathway specialization, you do have to take the final to, I mean, if you get a 0 out of 100 on the final, very unlikely, but if you did that, then you wouldn't get a B in the class. So that's what you would need to graduate to get the credit for the class. So you would need to do minimally well on the final. But no, it's not heavily weighted. It would be like typically 70 to 75% or 70 to 80% coursework, and maybe 20 to 30% final. So it would be significant, but it's not like a be all or end all. But you would need to get something like 50 on 100 minimally to get credit for that class and move on. And that shouldn't be difficult, but that's where the minimal, absolute minimal bar is at. Hopefully no one's aiming for that, but if that's what you're looking for, that's where it would be.
And just to give you one other example of my own courses, which are probably atypical because they're more writing based, there is a final exam that's an important part of the grade, but it's really a collection of work that students have done in the other modules of the course going up until then. So if you've done the work successfully in all the other parts of the course, you'll basically be fine for the final, and that's actually explained at the beginning of the course.
Great, thank you. All right, I know our good team here has designated some of these questions about being answered live, so I'm looking for those questions.
We
While
might
I
have
do that,
time
Bobby.
for one more.
Okay, great. I don't want to waste your time while I'm scrolling through. Bobby, did you see any questions that you wanted to answer? Or that you thought?
I think we've gotten to them.
Okay, great. Bhupesh asks, I don't have a U.S. bachelor's degree. If I complete this master's program, I get a master's degree. Does it make me eligible for any other courses which require a master's degree? So this is an interesting question. You will have a CU Boulder master's degree in computer science. Does it make you eligible for other courses which require master's degree? I'm not totally sure I understand the question, but if you're asking if those courses are eligible for degree programs at other universities, again, we can't answer that. That would be up to that university to evaluate your application. But I will say that these are the exact same courses that we teach on campus. It's the same content, the same student learning objectives, and across the program, it's the same program objectives. So it is a fully accredited and rigorous graduate degree.
And Randall,
Okay.
I think the short answer is yes, that anything that this master's degree, if you took it residentially, would make you qualified for, this Coursera degree will make you equally qualified for.
Great, terrific. Jennifer, do we have time to run one last poll?
Sure, we can put it up here.
Great. So what do you plan to do next? We've got a couple of options here. We'll give you a minute here to complete this poll. Okay. Here we go. We've got, this is great, a really good spread of results. Start with the non-credit course. That's great. Really excited that that folks are interested in starting right away. Checking out the website to learn more, starting with a 4-credit course. Excellent. This is great. You can see that people are taking a variety of next steps. I think it speaks to the flexibility of this program, but also recognizing the different goals that folks have for this program. So whatever your next step is, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you joining us. Great questions. Please do reach out with additional questions at the email we provided to you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to see you in class soon. Thank you very much.